Video games are really cool. And to celebrate their coolness, every year we all come together to throw a party for the biggest night in gaming, the Game Awards. The best games of the year are selected and nominated by a massive jury and duke it out head to head for the top spot in their category. And there are dozens of categories to choose from, ranging from Best Score, Best Narrative, Sports Game, Best Family Game, Best Girl. But the biggest award of the night, of course, is the coveted Game of the Year. I firmly believe any game nominated for Game of the Year should really be considered the best of the best. Every nomination should be a polished experience that helps push the medium of games forward. Brand new design principles, refinement of old design philosophies, innovation, pushing boundaries, risky, new game design decisions that succeed. All of this should be a part of what makes a game worthy of Game of the Year. Any nominee game should be a fulfilling experience that makes the player a more well-rounded, empathetic person once they are done with it. Like any great piece of art, a Game of the Year nominated game should leave its impression in you and make you a better individual after experiencing it. Are these high standards for games? Personally, no, I don't think so. Video games have the potential to be the highest form of art and entertainment, and I already think they are. So we should hold the best titles of the year to the highest possible standard. And that being said, I'm going to try and break down why each title deserves to be nominated this year. Even if I haven't personally played all of them, I will do my best to only talk about objective game design principles and what makes each game a unique and fulfilling experience. I will try not to shove in my opinion as best as I can, even if I do believe Bugsnax should be nominated in every single category. We'll be covering each game in the order they are announced by my man G. Keeley, so let's just jump right into it. Animal Crossing arrived at our homes right as the world locked down from COVID and allowed us to go on vacation to the tropical island of our dreams. Selling a whopping 26 million units in 6 months, every Nintendo Switch basically turned into an Animal Crossing machine. An interior decorator's dream, Animal Crossing gives you the freedom to create your island and home into whatever you can possibly imagine. A robust construction system, thousands of items, real-time weather and day cycles, music that changes on the hour, hundreds of cute animal villagers to interact with, and relaxing gameplay systems that encourage you to slow down and just enjoy the island life, however you want, whenever you want. Aya Koyagoku and her team took the core design philosophy of the series and doubled down on the environmental customization and focused on making the player feel as comfy as possible. We've all seen the impact of this game on social media with different celebrities, organizations, and even a presidential candidate joining in on encouraging people to play the game. It's almost as if Animal Crossing started a mini movement during the summer, a movement about relaxation and creativity. Animal Crossing New Horizons deserves to be a game of the year due to the depths of its island customization, gameplay loop that incentivizes the player to play at their own speed and relax, pushing a 20-year-old franchise design philosophies further, its constant updates of new content and holiday events, and for getting folks who don't normally play games to take a breather from their daily stresses of life. Animal Crossing New Horizons just might be one of the cheapest and funnest alternatives to therapy out there.
Rip and tear until it is done.
John Carmack and John Romero's original Doom is one of the best games ever made, and it changed the gaming industry forever. Doom Eternal isn't just a worthy successor to that legacy, but it may even surpass it. A first-person shooter where every gun must be used, every ability, every single button on the controller must be pressed, and you must have your full attention on the game while you're playing. A far cry from the island life of Isabelle and Tom Nook, Doom Eternal throws you into the depths of hell and tells you to get out yourself. Pushing both the player and the current hardware, every level of Doom is beautifully detailed. When the game's roller coaster speed finally slows down and allows you to catch your breath, you get to see the weird, dreamlike, demonic worlds. However, you don't want to rest too long as Mick Gordon's soundtrack pumps your blood to grit your teeth and jumps you back into the fray. Hugo Martin and his team took the gameplay loop and design of the previous game and completely revamped them into a completely new experience with Eternal. The game looks similar at a glance, but they couldn't play any more different. Doom Eternal deserves to be a game of the year due to the complexity and depths of its gameplay loop, stunning creative and heart-pounding soundtrack, beautiful worlds and excellent level design that supports creative play and strategy, and pushing a 25-year-old franchise design philosophies even further. Doom Eternal just may be the best shooter out right now, and if the island life therapy isn't for you, then ripping and tearing demons just might be.
How sweet. When did you get so thoughtful?
Guy can change. Has been 5 years.
Huh?
Every year dozens of games are remade, and to call Final Fantasy VII Remake just another run-of-the-mill remake would be a massive oversight. A reimagining of one of gaming's greatest experiences, Final Fantasy VII Remake builds this fantastical world from the ground up. Charm is the key word used here. Using classic JRPG tropes to its advantage, it's nearly impossible not to fall in love with the world and characters of Midgar. The game won the Best Girl award before the awards even started. I'm sorry, Kazumi.
I see.
With a wide depth of combat customization where you can meticulously craft your own way to fight, each playable character feels completely unique to play, with even deeper unique customization within each one. I don't even think I need to say this when I say both the story, atmosphere, and music are absolutely timeless. Cloud's journey through Midgar and the sounds and orchestra that plays during it are nothing less than iconic. Final Fantasy VII Remake deserves to be a game of the year due to its flexible and creative combat customization, breadth of content and activity, its oodles of charm and personality, its ageless soundtrack and story, and for reinventing a 23-year-old game for both the old fans and for newcomers alike. Fans have wanted a remake of Final Fantasy VII as way back as 2005, but rather than just updating technology and graphics common for most remakes, Tetsuya Nomura and his team opted for the much harder path of creating a new experience for new fans and old alike. As Tamar Hussain from GameSpot eloquently put in his review, this isn't the Final Fantasy VII your mind remembers, it's the one your heart always knew it to be.
I swore to protect this island with my life. And now the Mongols have stolen our home, killed our samurai.
Ghost of Tsushima takes the historic first Mongol invasion of Japan in 1274 and turns it into a downright gorgeous epilogue to the PS4's legacy. Ghost of Tsushima takes the design philosophy of open-world games from the early to mid-2010s and polishes them to a mirror shine. Never focusing on just one aspect of its gameplay loop, the Land of Tsushima offers you to holistically take it all in at once. Organic exploration of the jaw-dropping landscapes that use innovative systems like wildlife and nature to lead you to encampments that allow you the freedom to tackle them in any way you'd think a samurai would. Extremely satisfying combat that slowly grows in complexity and nuance, rather than using the same leveling system of its contemporary peers. As you progress, Tsushima adds on more layers and features to its already engaging combat systems, a natural progression to fit a natural world. All of this is accompanied by a sweeping score that dynamically changes as you go from exploration to platforming to stealth to combat. Director Nate Fox and his team went to painstaking lengths to capture the spirit of feudal Japan. With one of the most robust photo modes currently available, and with an appropriately named Kurosawa mode, which mimics the style of the director Akira Kurosawa's films with a black and white film grain filter. Ghost of Tsushima deserves to be a game of the year due to its innovations and polish and familiar open-world design, organic and smooth transitions in its gameplay features and soundtrack, some of the most artistically dynamic and beautiful landscapes of the generation, and its constant commitment to capturing the spirit of feudal Japan both in aesthetics and gameplay.
The House of Hades, that dark and lavishly appointed lair of the underworld's king, is home not just to him, but to his willful progeny.
At first glance, Hades may seem like a wild card among the nominees, but it more than deserves its place among its AAA peers. The second game on the list about a man enacting fast-paced violence on the citizens of Hell, Hades takes the roguelite formula of restarting over and over again and weaves it into both the progression system and the narrative itself. The story and colorful characters of the world are as much an award for progressing as they are their own characters and narratives. Greek gods will appear mid-run and add new mechanics and combat moves and expand upon the already insanely deep combat customization at hand. 6 different playstyles that can be changed and fine-tuned to create dozens upon dozens of ways to combat the souls of the underworld. The beautiful paint-like art quality of the character portraits drips into the enemy design and atmosphere of the underworld. Every aspect of game creation excels and plays off each other in Hades. The masterful soundtrack, phenomenal voice work, wide diversity of gameplay styles and characters, and innovations in turning most games' game over state into an incentive to progress the narrative. Hades hits on every creative aspect of game creation beautifully, and Hades deserves to be a game of the year due to its complex layered combat systems, beautifully handcrafted worlds and characters, its mix of orchestral and rock score, and for its innovations in merging storytelling and world building into game mechanics.
I have to finish it.
You have no idea what you're walking into.
To say Last of Us Part 2 isn't what everyone expected it would be a massive understatement. With a marketing campaign which was incredibly vague to story trailers that never really showed much or said what was going on, to say the story wasn't in the very least new and risky would be undermining what Neil Druckmann and his team set out to do. A haunting journey that, no matter what your personal feelings are at the end of it, will most likely stick with you for some time. The strength of the narrative could not be possible without the voice actors bringing out their complete and utter best to the title. Each line of dialogue and cutscene is meticulously crafted to be as perfect as it can possibly be. A new standard for mocap and voice acting is accommodated by a new standard for animation. Blood and gore will react differently to the surface it falls on, absorbing into carpets and mixing with water. Little details like this permeate every aspect of the game. Instead of bringing these same innovations into the core gameplay, Naughty Dog opted to refine the core gameplay loop from the first game. Extremely polished gunplay and ease of movement, densely packed level design that promotes multiple playstyles with verticality, and all of this is accompanied with the best user accessibility options ever put into a video game. The Last of Us Part 2 deserves to be a game of the year due to the risks and innovations in its narrative, pushing boundaries in voice acting and performance, polished and refined familiar game systems, and creating a new standard in how games should approach user accessibility. With so many amazing titles this year, I imagine it was incredibly difficult for the jury to choose what to nominate. And while I know I didn't go too deeply into what makes these games special, I hope I offered some quick insight into why these games are pushing the medium forward. Thank you guys as always, and please take care out there.